report is in. We're here with our Kickstarter Pickstarters for you to review and enjoy for the week of March 25th, 2019. We're starting off with a big one that we are very excited to see. It is Oceans from North Star Games. This is the C version of their popular Evolution game. If you haven't played that before, conceptually, it's still the same idea in which you will be designing species, giving them different attributes in order to survive, or possibly eat your friends. The C will add, as you guessed, more sea-based components such as camouflage, still predatory, maybe schooling tactics, but it will also add a deep deck, which has a bit more mysterious and deep-related things, as well as I think a bit more, it seems like, mythological. I think there's a Kraken card I saw, which looks awesome. In addition, this carries the trait from all the Evolution games, which is probably some of the prettiest artwork I've seen in a board game. As you can see, there are actually pledge levels to actually get the art, which a lot of them are already gone. In fact, by the time you're watching the video, maybe all of them will be, which is a shame. This is some amazing art, and the game, luckily though, the game does back it up with mechanics. It's not just a pretty thing to look at.
Yeah, I think that the art in this one is even more spectacular than the original Evolution game. I think it seems more colorful, maybe just because the ocean has such weird stuff in it. You're able to do even weirder things. But yeah, we've been following this one for a long time. Been excited for it. We've got a couple great interviews on our channel with Nick Bentley, who designed this one, and everything about it. You know, we like the original Evolution. This just seems like a really great sequel to it.
Yes, I love the Evolution games, and this one's actually supposed to be streamlined a little bit. Pun sort of intended. So if you felt that one was maybe a bit too much to you, maybe this one might be the perfect one for you. Either way, I would suggest all of them. I really think they're fun. The base is for 45, but if you go for, I think, 70, you get some nice cloth bags, which I have used a lot in the other one because I did get the deluxe one in Evolution back then, as well as some other stuff. And like I said, if you're lucky, but they are very expensive, like $500 for actually like a print of the art and stuff. So of course, get what you want. But once again, we highly recommend this game, not only for its looks, but for an actually fun mechanical game.
Potemkin Empire is the new Kickstarter from Indie Boards and Cards. Players in this game are trying to impress Catherine the Great in Russia, and you're trying to impress her by making your little town seem as impressive as it possibly can be. But maybe your town isn't that impressive, so you have to lie about it. The way the game works is you'll be drafting cards and purchasing different buildings, and the cards are the interiors of those buildings. So the buildings come in different categories. There could be a science building, government building, what have you, and those buildings will give you different meeples that allow you to use different actions. The cards themselves will either say fake or real, and you can put those into your buildings in different places, and depending on what combination you have them in, your building might actually have real things in it, or it might just be a facade with nothing inside. It looks nice on the outside and that's it. And on your turn, you'll be able to use different actions to potentially look at other players' buildings, see what's inside of them, try to catch them on their bluffing and figure out which of their buildings are fake so that they don't look as good, they're exposed, and you ultimately win and get the most points from your beautiful buildings. So a lot of fun.
That sounds very funny and a hilarious idea. And weird bluffing. I feel like there's a name for towns like that are made with only the outer facade.
Like a ghost town?
I feel like that's what happens afterwards.
Yeah, it sounded like it's kind of, it reminded me of the way that coup works with its bluffing and how you pretend to have something and use it and other people can call you out on it, mixed with a little bit more of an in-depth game where you actually have resources.
Not simply just, this is my role and I'm going to be lying about it. There's actually
there's a little bit more to it, yeah. So Potemkin Empire, it's only $24, not that big of an ask, and it's up there right now.
From Game Brewer, we have Fuji Kuro Deluxe. This is going to be the deluxe edition of Fuji Kuro, which is not out yet. So in essence, this is the Kickstarter for the game, but just the deluxe version of it. In this game, you are playing as samurai, sent to help rescue the relics and monks from a temple inside Mount Fuji, which is erupting. But in order to do so, you will have to fight dragons, as well as deal with environmental obstacles. You will be able to mine and gain resources and actually craft items to help you along the way, including magical ones that will really give you a benefit with things such as walking across lava, which when dealing with lava sounds very useful. The game itself could either be a cooperative game or competitive for 1 to 6 players, which I think, well, combined with the stuff I said before, is why I thought it was very interesting. I like the crafting mechanic. It looked like Minecraft kind of style, so you have your own little chart and you slide it in there once you actually build it. This is the deluxe version. The difference is that you can see on their site, but mostly it's like a set of cardboard pieces. You're going to get minis or deluxe wooden meeples and stuff. It goes for about $111, which will be, I think, $200 once it hits retail regular. The base one being, it will be $88 when it goes out in a regular retail. So one of those things is if you really need the meeples or not, or you want to wait. The one thing I was a little confused about was the board. I couldn't find anything much about. The deluxe one said it had double-sided when the other one was single. I don't know if that means the competitive or cooperative is only in the deluxe or not. But it did seem that everything should be, but I didn't see a definitive of them saying. And of course, they did say if you do get the deluxe, any expansions will make sure they'll keep the deluxe in mind. But even with the price, the game sounds really cool, and that's why I chose it. Sort of a dungeon crawl, but with like the upgrade system of crafting, getting materials. Feels almost more old school RPG-ish.
Yeah, it sounds cool. It looks cool. I also, having the options of being competitive or cooperative is really cool. $111, it is a lot, but I feel like it's the perfect thing for a Kickstarter because if you do want that deluxe, you are saving a lot of money from what it will be later. So.
Yeah, and you can see all the crazy dragon meeples you get too, which are really cool.
Yeah. Who doesn't want those?
Like I said, this is for the deluxe edition, and because of the way it's laid on, maybe it's a bit more predictable when you're going to get it, but once again, Kickstarter, you never know with the dates. I think the Kickstarter, the deluxe one, should be hopefully out by December. Fingers crossed always, with the retail coming out in October. So depending whether you're willing to wait for some of those really nice minis and other goodies, then this is the Kickstarter back.
Now let's take things down a notch with Gartenbrau, which I believe is German for Gartenbrau. This is a simple tile-laying game from Fisher Heaton Games in which all players are trying to build their little gardens and make them the prettiest out of all of them. The way it works is you're going to start out by purchasing seedling tiles, and those have different colors on them. And then from there, you can purchase plant tiles. And the plant tiles, first of all, they need sun and water to purchase them. Those are your resources that you have, naturally. And you also need to be able to place them in the right spot. So they'll say on the card, this needs 2 red seedlings, or a red and a yellow seedling. And you have to place them on top of those spots in your garden. Then finally, you are going to have flower cards in your hand. Flower cards take up 4 tiles, 2 plant cards, and those require specific plants as well to be placed on top of. And those are what really are going to get you all your points at the end of the game. So it's a relatively straightforward progression system where you start with knowing what kind of flowers you want to plant. You kind of work your way backwards, making sure that you get the right seedlings, then the right plants, etc. And then you have some special abilities you can do that once per game, maybe you can move a flower or plant around to make it a little bit easier for yourself. And otherwise, you're just laying tiles. Pretty simple, has a nice little theme, cute little artwork, the kind of thing when you're done, you have a little garden you can look at and play with.
Do I have to worry about invasive species like
none of that?
Jewel beetle?
You don't have to worry about bugs, and the rabbits and deer aren't going to be eaten at your garden.
And I assume I can't salt your garden.
Yeah, no, there's not a heavy amount of take that element in the game. It goes for $37 if you're a fan of these kinds of tile laying games. You want something that's cute and nice to look at. Check it out, Gartenbrau.
Now we're going to hit up an RPG with Wise Guys. This is an RPG sort of around crime gangs based on things like movies such as Reservoir Dogs, those kinds of big groups of crimes and doing heists and stuff. Most of our work does seem to be sort of around the Vegas area that I can see, but because it's an RPG, I'm sure you can adjust it to wherever you want. It is based off the Savage World rules, but as I said, it revolves around crime and doing different groups and organizing your groups, different roles and stuff. I think this sounds really fun because if you think about a lot of actual crime movies, they actually, just like an RPG group, we gotta get, the bombsmith, the hacker, stuff. There's roles.
Yeah.
So it seems like a really nice fit.
Yeah, it's kind of usually in RPGs you're the hero, but getting to play the criminal underworld.
Hey, some would argue that the thieves are heroes.
Yeah, I definitely think that the mafia are heroes. They should be lauded for their efforts.
But I definitely would love to play a game with this kind of basis, especially if hopefully someone who has seen things like Reservoir Dogs who could pull from those kinds of movies to add that nice bit of flair into it. The game itself, like many RPGs, 15 for digital, 25 for a book. And if you're up for a heist, this might be the blueprint you're looking for.
Lastly, we're going to end with our smallest game of the day. It's called Handsome, and it's another one of those wallet-sized games from Button Shy Games. This one is a word game. Game. So this only comes with a small amount of cards. I believe it's 18 cards, and on those cards are different consonants. And a certain amount of them are going to be on the table, and then everyone is also going to have a couple in their hand, sort of poker style. And everybody's going to try to come up with a word using as many of the consonants that they can from a combination of their hand and what's visible to everyone publicly. So you can come up with whatever you want. You can use whatever extra consonants or vowels that you want, but you're going to get more points for using the cards on the table, and those cards also have different suits. In this case, the theme of the game, handsome, it's all about looking nice, so the different suits are things like necklaces and ties. So you're going to get more points for having more of one suit than anybody else. So that's also an advantage.
So in essence, this is like Texas Hold.
Kind of like
Texas
Hold'em.
The river.
Yeah.
But with word, and I think that's very clever.
Yeah, it seems like a really neat idea. Very, very simple, quick setup, easy to play. Like all these games, you can pretty much take it out and play it anywhere. Mm-hmm. And there's also a little expansion if you back right now.
A little
expansion that adds some extra things, including like making it so your word has to be a noun or an adjective, for example. And you get that included if you back it right now for $10. So go ahead and take a look at it. It's only up for a short amount of time, like most of these wallet games are. It's called Handsome.
Those are our picks for this week. We've got some major companies bringing some of their big hits to the table, as well as some smaller, more interesting ones. Mm-hmm. I think very excited to already have backed Oceans because I really do love the Evolution line and been very excited for this.
Yeah.
And that deep thing, I cannot wait to find out what's in there.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I think there were even a few other ones that I looked at that didn't quite make the cut but seemed interesting. So if there are some of those that you were looking at, definitely talk to us in those comments down below.
In the deep.
We want to know what you're backing, people.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's plenty of other places besides down there. There's Instagram, Facebook. Our website has a nice little form. And of course, if you dive down really down deep, we won't be there, actually. We're terrified of that. But let us know what you see down there, too.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crits Kickstarter Pickstarter.
Hey, if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more excellent board game content.
Heck yeah!